Oh yeah, she's pretty cute. Ah! Come on, man, you scared the sugar packets out of me. What's going on, YouTube? How you guys doing? It's good to see you again. I'm having a great day. Been meeting a lot of really cool people, been around the city today, and I might have some really interesting content coming up. So who knows? Cross your fingers. This is another installment of AskTVK where you can ask me whatever you want and I'm gonna answer it to the best of my ability. But before I get started, I wanna ask you a question. Have you ever dealt with performance anxiety? Have you ever gotten so nervous to where if somebody kind of just looked at you, you just freak out and drop all your sugar packets? Well, I have, and I really feel it's a kind of a lifetime confrontation that you can always get the better hand of if you know what to do. All this talk of performance anxiety leads me to today's question. Grace Dalrymple asks, could you do a video about how to deal with performance anxiety and how to trust yourself on stage? Ooh, Grace, that's such a good question, and I'm gonna do my best to help you out here because it's something that I've personally battled with. Well, performance anxiety can come from a bunch of different places. You know, one of them that I have recently dealt with is not having enough time to prepare. You know, you get your music about 3 weeks before the performance and you have to perform the whole thing well. How do you do that? Well, first you cry, because that's what I do, and it helps. One of the best ways to combat a lack of time is to get very familiar with the music. And what I mean by that is knowing how every single part goes roughly and how you fit within them. So how do you do that? Well, it helps to listen to the piece a lot, especially whenever you have some free time. Instead of listening to your hip hop or your dubstep, listen to the music that you have to play, and then listen to parts that aren't your own. Because I mean, you already know your part generally, you know what you're going to be studying. So it's important to listen to the other parts and figure out how you fit in. Another way to actually get a better understanding of the topography of the piece is to look at a score and study the score while you listen to the music. That way you can pick out and find areas where you may be having a dialogue with another instrument group or another voice going on. It's very important to realize that performance anxiety comes from the fear of the unknown. You don't know if you're gonna trip over yourself and face plant on stage. You don't know if your flutist's flute is gonna explode in the middle of the performance. You don't know if your bassist string is gonna pop and hit you upside the head. There's no way to know that. So don't be afraid of what you don't know. Be excited by it. And once you're not fearful of what could happen, you can get more into the mindset of thinking about what can happen. And that's way more powerful, that's way more fun, and you'll have a greater chance of success. So you're not the only one. If you really have these issues on stage, a lot of people do. And it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. Don't be afraid of it. It just means you care, and it's good to care about your art. My favorite way to battle performance anxiety is to change my thinking paradigm. What I used to do is when I used to make a mistake, I used to beat myself up mentally. I used to be like, man, you suck. You practiced this so much and you didn't hit that shift. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's just crazy the sort of things that go through performers' heads. What really was the game changer for me was to, instead of going out onto the stage expecting a flawless performance, I go out on stage expecting to create something and say something that the audience can resonate with. And I go on with the expectation that I will make mistakes and it's okay. It's just gonna happen. That's just the way it is. I just have to make sure that I can make my performance convincing. And now when I make a mistake, especially that first one, I'm like, oh, the pressure's off. I made that mistake, it's there. Okay, now let's make some music. So when you go into performance, don't expect perfection. Go into the performance instead feeling like you need to make something meaningful happen. Those are two different things, and personally the latter is way more important as a musician and as an artist. Nerves mean you care, and that's a very good thing. So don't be afraid of your nerves. Embrace them. A couple of things that I found and I've heard from a lot of other people. Nerves can make your vibrato a little bit better because you're just like shaking anyway. It's just there. It's electric. Nerves also give you the adrenaline to like use your interpretation and like go farther with it. Exaggerate everything you want. If it's piano, play pianissimo. Make the audience scoot in and have to like strain to hear you. When it's forte, go fortissimo and just like, it's okay to scratch, just go for it. Make a musical gesture. When you do that, when your adrenaline really and your nerves push you to do something musical, that's the advantage. The only thing you shouldn't do with your nerves is to allow it to inhibit something. So you shouldn't allow it to make you more fearful of using bow. You shouldn't allow it to make you feel like you can't play expressively. Make your nerves guide you towards musical decisions. Think of it more of an enabling experience. I can tell you some of my most interesting, we'll use that word, musical moments that I've ever produced were in a performance because I was scared out of my mind. But I used that fear and those nerves and used it to, well, I'm already here, so I might as well do something big. I might as well do something small. Might as well do something interesting. Okay, so I've been talking about nerves and how to use them to your advantage, but what if you're nervous because you're not prepared? Well, don't be unprepared. Like, I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you really work hard, even if you feel unprepared and if you worked really, really hard, if you work to the best of your ability, that's it. You need to let it go. You've done the best you can. And if you didn't, next time work a little harder. Always put your best foot forward. If you only have a certain amount of time, work your butt off to do the best that you can. And once you've worked your best, that'll alleviate a lot of the nerves already because you know you couldn't have worked harder. And then use that confidence of that groundwork that you've laid to then as like a springboard to just jump off and do something that you've never done before. And honestly, if you've worked hard, your performance will never be terrible. And then your job is to make it interesting. Your job is to give it that cayenne pepper kick. One thing that really helps me manage my nerves is knowing that I'm not alone on stage, that you're there interacting with other people. Have a conversation in front of your audience instead of performing for your audience. The only thing this really can't help you with is playing solo Bach, because I mean, that's all you do. Create a musical work of art instead of playing for your peers. Think of it more in abstract terms so that you can get your mind off of the technical stuff. Because honestly, when you're on stage, you shouldn't really be thinking about this anymore. Like, if you've done the work, it's there. If you haven't, oh well, make a musical statement. That's the only thing you can do on stage. And if you go on stage thinking about that instead of, oh, my technique, that'll help you tremendously and it'll lift this weight off of your shoulders. Realize that the composer laid out all the hard work for you. They wrote the notes, they created the harmonies, the counterpoint, all of this interplay, the expression. They did all of that for you. All you have to do is just tell their story. So put all of the hard work on Bach. Put all the hard work on Beethoven and Liszt. Like, that's up to them. So remember this, guys, and this is the bottom line. When you're performing and you feel performance anxiety, that's understandable, but just realize that you're just a messenger. Bach and all of these wonderful composers did all the hard work for you, and all your job is to do is to bring it forth in a light that will make people feel something. And if you are the composer, or if your friend is the composer, nobody else is gonna know how it's supposed to sound. So just go with it. It's all good. You got this. I promise you. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, please send them to me. I'll try to make as many of your requests into AskTVK videos as possible. And with that, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, like the video. It'll help me out so much. And since you made it this far, you might as well subscribe, because I love you, baby. Come here. All joking aside, seriously, feel free to comment, follow me on all my platforms, because I want to interact with you, and I want to bring you content that you want to see. And if you got some more time, my last video is like right here. If you just click on it, it's like right here. You just